Okay, so we're going to talk about the Regency Fashion we talked about. Um, the first question is, as you look at the facts that you were learning about Regency Fashion, what sorts of inferences can you draw about the society?
Okay. Um, for me, I'm not so sure, but like as I'm reading, I kind of feel like things became like less simpler. Like some of the things, some of the fashion is still like is even get harder for women to dress up, right? But um, something like hair became less is more simplified and everything. I feel like there's some other things that they have to take care of more. That's what I can feel from reading it. It's like, oh, maybe like the society have war or more politic things that they have to take care of, and the clothes has to be um, more like suitable for the situation. That's just what I can think of.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think all the clothing definitely seems simpler. The men, they stopped wearing all the frills and lace and things and went to just really tailored clothing. The women stopped wearing as much ornateness, um, and they wore like looser flowing dresses. I think it shows that maybe the society was moving away from aristocracy, so it was more about just um, more casual clothing, so that you could, I don't know, move freely. Like women could move around more. You didn't just like sit inside your giant mansion all day.
Hmm.
So I think that's what the clothing reflected too.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere that I don't remember which article it was, but like they're moving towards like the natural body, like their clothes, they weren't like super form fitting, but you could still see like the silhouette of like their natural body and like the curves and everything. With both the men and the women, like the men's clothing were like tailored and super like harshly cut or whatever, so you could like see the men's body as well as the women's. Um,
Yeah,
but
I
yeah,
agree.
going off
Yep.
of what you were saying.
I think it's the same thing. All went through like the slim fit of fashion that came up, and in the article it says like they kind of took off the sleeves. Everything went to like sleeveless kind of dresses, which they thought it's kind of a pain with the sleeve. Um, so hands went sleeveless, and uh, the dresses went slim fit, so that you know the natural shape of the body comes up, and people became more comfortable with it,
Mm.
and that kind of became uh, a decent dress for everyone. That,
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just how society keeps changing, like fashion changes, and so sometimes the only thing that we see is to adapt to it. So I think that's what mentioned in the article that they describe how men's were wearing the clothes like in that moment. So I think it's just how people is adapting to the society. Really. So how society adapts to the fashion, I mean. So I can think.
So,
All right, let's look at the next question. It says, What sort of meaning can we attach to the changes in women's sense of what their shape of their bodies should have, or the fact that their hairstyles were simplified?
We kind of
I
discussed
think.
it, right?
Oh, just
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, no, no. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was just gonna say I think that maybe like the hairstyles were simplified just so like it wouldn't take away from like what they were wearing. Like they said that their clothing was simplified too. Like they were plainer and not as like extravagant like the big dresses
Coffee.
or like the even the men's clothes, but like their clothing still like emphasized and like showed off their body. Like you could still see like the body beneath the clothing. So maybe like bodies were becoming more
Yeah,
like
I
they're
think
looking for a certain body.
I think it ties into I guess Bert's ideas. Like women, I think they still were regarded like they still wanted them to be delicate and smooth and all those adjectives that he used a lot. So I think that's why they still had this style that still showed this particular shape of the body and like accentuated like your curves and your bust and that kind of thing because that's still what they looked for. I think there still was some level of objectification of women. I mean, maybe it was worse in earlier times. Like, it's better that I guess there's more this freedom of dress, but you can still see that I don't know, women still need to are still sort of a beauty object.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
have.
go ahead.
No, you can go ahead.
Okay, I was just trying to say that the hairs kind of stayed the same how it was in the 18th century. The hairstyles, it didn't change much. Just the clothing that changed.
Remember in the
Uh,
last articles? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah,
On
you're
the
trying.
last articles that we had to read for the first assignment,
Uh-huh.
they in some of the pictures we can see that they all have the same hairstyle,
Uh-huh.
and I personally think that that shows a lot about them, like themselves, because you can see all those fancy hairstyles where you can say that it's because they're classy or they're wealthy, because not back in the day not everyone who who have the same hairstyle or just the same clothes, like you can see that that defines society a lot back in the time.
I also have a comment. I don't know if you. I kind of looked through the website, the link that he gave us, and I mean that she gave us, and then I look at the about the caps, like the hat and stuff. Did you guys get to see that as well? I just looked more into it. So if you remember from the movie, like, or if you see the British, they will have like a hat, like a good, nice caps on the top and decorated really beautiful.
Oh
Is that
yeah.
it actually started from this time, like the Regency Fashion, if I'm not wrong. Um, and they said that all classes, women in all classes will have the caps and they will wear it, and only one age that don't wear it. Even children and older people will wear it. One age is the young woman, like in the young age, like the young women will kind of don't wear it, so they can show all the beauty. And I feel like that's kind of go along with the how they want to focus on the natural beauty now. They don't want the
Mm-hmm.
material to take away from it. So that's what I think.
I agree.
But as you say, like as we have discussed, like how fit all those dresses were, where the woman will show like how the shape of her body was. I think that was a way where they were showing like the natural beauty, because if we take a look of nowadays society, there is like people doesn't show their natural beauty like as they used to do back in the day. People look too much to the society, thinking what the society thinks about themselves. That's what I think. I don't think back in the days they used to care about what the society think that much.
Okay, that kind of ties into the next question. Um, what do you think all this has to do with the way women were thought of and how they thought about themselves within society? So you kind of answered that a little bit, where you thought.
That's the third question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, that basically answered that question. I think why the reason why they were wearing those fit dresses is because they wanted to show the society what they were actually look like. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's kind of interesting too, just like the way society is. People just tend to mimic fads. I don't know, like I think for this we were talking about these were British women, but if I read correctly, they would get their fads and trends from the French. Like the French and the British would go back and forth. They would go somewhere and see people wearing this one style, and there's something in people that makes them go, "Oh my gosh, we have to do this too." But it was interesting because British and Britain and France were at war. This was around the time of the French Revolution. So even though their countries were at war, they were still mimicking each other's fashions.
Hmm.
Hmm.
okay.
Okay, the next question is, what is the significance of the empire waist? So the waist length that was like really, really high up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like in the Pirate of the Caribbean.
yes. Yeah, it's kind of a
Yeah, I read.
ground.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just telling that it's kind of a ground that kind of like just it's like the whole body has it, and it's a skinny fit. I guess that's how it is. I don't know what's the significance of it though.
I read somewhere that it was a big way that it got really
Yeah, I think it just like. Oh, sorry.
no,
You're
it's
still
fine.
talking.
Was Napoleon? It's either like his someone related to him because I forget her first name, but her last name was Bonaparte, and she
Oh
wore
yeah.
that dress, and then
Napoleon Bonaparte.
all of a sudden it got really huge after she wore it, which would make sense because Napoleon was conquering Europe at the time. So
Is that why they call the Empire West?
that's my guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Maybe.
think so.
One thing is I kind of noticed because the beauty of the century before this time is not revealing at all, right? So it's all like how to say it?
Yeah, like it brings out.
Yeah, but then when it comes to this time, like it's kind of show more, like the neck area is open more, and it just get me thinking about something that we were talking about before. They shift the perspective of beauty to more on this thing, and so the men or society can admire this beauty more. So I think the corset and empire waist kind of help with that. Not too much, a little. That's my thought.
Yeah, it's good. It was a way to show their body to be more attractive to for the men's probably.
Yeah.
Why do you think men become simpler in their dress, and why do you think they became obsessed with having well-cut clothing?
That's the other question. Why did men become simpler in the dress?
Yeah, why they dress simpler.
It kind of showed their quality and class
Yeah.
because of the skinny fit pants and the boots on it and the cuts of the coats. It's kind of a class that they showed in it. That's what I think. Because it says like coats were cut away in front with long skirts or trails behind and had tall standing collars, which which kind of gives them the collar up kind of gives them the class of like standard, I guess. That's when they started doing it.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's mentioned on the little lecture. They say they did this because became much more important as indicator of quality. It was a way to indicate their quality and their class, probably.
Yeah.
Definitely. Um,
I
as
think it also has to do with like in this time period they're about to go into like the industrial revolution, so there's a lot more like tailoring shops and sewing presses, and they're getting all this technology. So all of a sudden now it's more normal to have those things. So more like middle class individuals can go have a tailored jacket or something. So I think those practices became more normal and more of a sign of affluence too.
And the boots became famous. Like in the article, it says because the in England, the Duke of Wellington defeated Napoleon, and he used to wear those boots, kind of the high boots. So that's how it became famous, and
Yeah, that's
people
what it
started
says
wearing
in the lecture.
it.
Yeah, Napoleon influenced a lot. It's kind of crazy that one person
Yeah,
could influence all of Europe so much. But yeah, they said the
The,
boots like you talked about, and they said the coattails too.
right.
Men started wearing
the
boots and
fashion.
coattails.
Yeah. Okay.
should we move on to next question?
Yeah, I think Keely got cut out, so I'm trying to add her back in.
Ah,
Oh, she sent a message. My Wi-Fi cut out.
Okay, I invited her back in, so she worked.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go to the next question. How do these things relate to such issues as relationships between men and women, or the fact that the middle class is gaining more power in England?
Hmm.
hmm.
Maybe the middle
Um,
class is gaining more power because since people is wearing clothes like not as classy and elegant as it used to be back in the days, and how those clothes seem to be really expensive only for wealthy people. That's probably the way middle class is gaining power in England nowadays because they can dress like as the high class people. I don't know. That's just my thought.
yeah, I think it's because of the clothes are more similar. Like the corset is not as hard as those dress that have to make and all the hair, like the standard of the beauty is simpler and the middle class people it's easier to access for them. And I was thinking of I'm not sure it's the right time, probably like the movie, what's that called? The Les Miserables, or I don't know how to say it.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. So like if you see like she kind of wear like this same thing, but it just looked less expensive more than people that richer. Um, so I think the fashion can really give the sense of the feeling in the society that is influenced more like more power or less power. Is Kelly not back in?
Let me message her because she sent a
I think
message.
he's trying to call us from another chat.
I invited her again to the group. I'll try again.
But if we switch chats, that means that we lose this one, right? Like we lose everything we have done.
I'll just message her.
I messaged her.
Yeah. Because if we went out of this one into another one, the streaming would stop. So, but I mean, she was here for most of it. We're almost done. But what else? I think it just reflected like the title said, they're going into like the romantic era, and the romantic period is just about greater individuality. So I think with people simplifying a bit, they can. It talked about letting them still they can be themselves and show their personality more, and there's more of an even playing field with people, and it's not so much about rich aristocrats. Um,
Oh, sorry.
okay, there you are.
Sorry.
Okay, we asked one more question. I'll read it again. We're talking about how do you think all these things relate to such issues as relationships between men and women, or the fact that the middle class is gaining more power in England?
Did you guys already discuss this question?
A little bit, but you can answer it if you like.
Okay. I think that how like the clothing is moving towards a more like simpler and plainer style. Um, it's giving like the middle class more of an opportunity to like be in or like be in the definition of beautiful or like what the popular trend is just because it's moving past the like extravagant like gowns and like embroidered and like frills and like lace and stuff that they're like moving out of and into like a different like fashion kind of feel. So in that sense,
Yeah.
what would you guys say?
Um,
I'd say that the middle class was gaining more power because nowadays people wear clothes like more simple clothes. Like back in the day, as we look at the pictures from the last assignment, we can see how all the dresses that the women were using were seemed to be like high price like dresses, and nowadays we see more equality. Like middle class people can afford the clothes that even the high class people use.
yeah, I think these clothes became like so famous that everybody tried to wear this kind of clothes. So it kind of became common, and like even now, like when the movie stars or any fashion world people, like they wear clothes like not like uh, very gorgeous, but like simple clothes. Those become famous mostly, and people try to buy those with a sign or symbol on it, kind of. So I think that's what happened also that time, like because Napoleon wore some kind of clothes, and his wife wore some kind of clothes, and it became famous and became stylish. So everybody, not like not only the rich class but the middle class also had that, and middle class is more in number, so I think that's how it gained more
Mm,
power. All right.
yeah.
I agree. What do you guys think it says about the relationship between men and women in this time?
Can you say that again?
Relationship between men and women.
Yeah, what does the clothing reflect? I think it gave, I mean, I feel like it had to give women a little bit more freedom because in the time period before they had to wear those, I mean, like all their clothing was so heavy and restrictive. I mean, they would wear like giant hoop skirts and tight corsets and so I mean they were more just like a living doll, I guess. And I think these clothings they could engage more and walk around more. They raised the hemline too, so they could actually like walk around and maybe a little bit more closer to the status of men. But I mean, of course, not all the way there, but probably a little closer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I think we have like a few minutes left, so we can like discuss, I guess, what we want to put in the paper. Um, so the paper is about how does Regency fashion say something about the cultures and or values of England at the time? Start with a statement of what you want to say about the connections between fashion and values. Then give evidence referring to at least 5 details from the reading, at least 2 of which should be from pictures included in the reading. So what kind of statement would you guys want to make about England, about what the
Mm,
Maybe like embracing the natural body, or just through like plainer, simpler type of clothing.
I think men tried to be more formal, and they tried to uh, yeah, I think they tried to be more formal. I don't know.
I have some comment. Um, I was thinking it could be their values. Before it's like all men and women are like crazily dressed up, so beautiful, and all the things are sophisticated. They really focus on that, and throughout the time changes, and it could be the values of families more on their life, of what they do, and how the things politics changes throughout the time. Their values, they still have some on the beauty that, but they just cut it off, like it's less, and they focus more on um, some other thing. And that's just what I kind of think of. Why would they change and stuff as well? Um, yeah.
Okay, I tried to combine those a little bit. Um, Hold on. I'm typing it. Okay, so I wrote simpler clothing and more natural beauty styles of the Regency era reflect values of individuality and a growing middle class. So I think that summarized everyone's ideas.
Yep,
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. And
that can be
so
the
I
thesis.
Yeah, that could totally be the basis. I'm happy with that.
Yeah,
Um,
that's good.
I'm gonna go ahead and end the broadcast now.